concerns over allowances and working conditions. According to the Ministry of Health, 2,417 medical interns were expected to report to various medical hospitals from August 3rd to begin internship and practical medical training. The head of the Federation of Uganda Medical Interns, Dr. Segonga, said the interns recently met Health Minister Dr. Chris Valiomunsi, Dr. Chris Valiomunsi, and presented their grievances. The interns say financial difficulties, debts, and demanding nature of their work have made it difficult to undertake internship without financial support. Some interns have also threatened to abandon the internship program altogether if the issues are not resolved. The dispute has also reached President Yoweri Museveni. While addressing the NRM Parliamentary Caucus in Munyonyo on Friday, President Museveni said he had been briefed that medical interns are often the health workers' consistent presentation in government hospitals, particularly where some senior doctors also have private practices. The president said he had begun and been approached to intervene in the deployment of interns, acknowledging the role they play in keeping services running in public health facilities. Following President Museveni's remarks, the interns now want to meet the president directly to discuss the outstanding issues surrounding their deployment, allowances, and working conditions. The Office of the President has set up a special slot for records of all people who have been awarded national medals. This facility, called the National Hall of Fame, is the first of its kind in the country. The head of the Chancery, Hajat Zamina Malole, said there are plans to establish similar facilities in different parts of the country. The program is being spearheaded by the Chancery, a department under the Office of the President. The National Hall of Fame is located in the building that houses the Office of the President in Kampala. And Uganda started the practice of awarding medals after gaining independence from the British government. The late Queen Elizabeth II of England issued a decree to award Ugandans who fought for the country's independence. At least 700 people have been awarded medals in various categories. The head of the Chancery, who oversees the program, said that their responsibility as an institution is to preserve everything about the country's heroes. Robert Sempija, one of the national medal recipients, told UBC that national medals have value and bring honor to the country. And finally, from the local scene, the founder of Phaneroo Ministries International, Apostle Grace Lubega, challenged believers and institutions to remain vigilant to changes taking place around the world, citing artificial intelligence as one of the major technological achievements. He was speaking as Phaneroo Ministries International marked 12 years of existence. Achievements of technology and advancement of technology, artificial intelligence as a challenge that should be enhanced by good society. To take center stage as worshippers at Phaneroo Ministries International celebrated 12 years. The founder, Apostle Grace Lubega, tasked believers and institutions to remain updated with the different changes in the world of technology. So far, Phaneroo's new season is building on the structures, achievements, foundations established over the 12 years of ministry. Well, Julie, that brings us to the end of our local stories as Phaneroo Ministries International celebrated 12 years of God's goodness.
Indeed, surely.
Go preach the gospel to the extreme end.
Do you preach the gospel? Do you take time off to tell anyone about the salvation of Christ?
I do, but not at a bigger, you'll never see me. When I was in Deje Senior Secondary School, I was part of the leadership of the Scripture Union under Reverend Mpaji. I was very vigilant in school, preached the gospel, but thereafter, I think somewhere, somehow, but I know one thing, that the Lord's will will be done.
All right. And mine is to say that, have you come to the place in your life where you know for sure that if you died today, you'd actually go to heaven? That's a seller for you.
People are taking breakfast, people are driving home.
Well,
now when you let people think of what is in the book of Revelations,
it's the truth. We can't avoid it, because anytime you can die. Even in this minute, you and die, any of us
Judy,
can pass
please
away.
continue with your international stories.
So allow me get straight to the foreign scene. And we're starting off with Matters Netanyahu, who disagrees with President Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if this is biting the hand that feeds you or it's another analogy, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected U.S. President Donald Trump's 15-point plan for Gaza, stating that no military pullout will happen until Hamas is genuinely disarmed. Trump's Board of Peace said last month it had reached an agreement for the complete disarmament of Hamas and other armed groups in Gaza. But Hamas said handing over its heavy weapons was contingent on Israel ending all forms of aggression and withdrawing its forces from Gaza. Israel has continued to carry out strikes on Gaza since agreeing to an initial ceasefire in the territory last October. A Hamas official told the BBC on Sunday the group reaffirms its commitment to the agreement and it was ready to engage seriously and responsibly in implementing the 15-point plan. They called on mediators to ensure that all parties comply with what has been agreed. What a conundrum that one is. But let's move on to matters Asia, that is in China to be specific, who are facing a lot of climate crisis. Now, more than 1 million people have been evacuated from their homes in eastern China, including Shanghai, as Typhoon Dolphin made landfall on Sunday evening. It packed maximum wind speeds of 150 kilometers per hour when it first slammed into Yuan in the Zhejiang province at 17:30 before making a second landfall in the city of Wenzhou about an hour later, meteorological authorities confirmed. The typhoon halted transportation across the region. About 1,400 flights were cancelled in Shanghai alone. Chinese authorities had earlier issued their highest level red alert on Dolphin, but by Monday morning they downgraded it to a tropical storm. The storm is continuing to move farther inland, and authorities are still warning of torrential rains, severe flooding, and the risk of landslides through to Wednesday. Heavy rain was forecast on Monday for the provinces of Shandong, Henan, Hebei, Anhui, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang, and the city of Shanghai as well. Local governments have urged people to avoid any outdoor activities, while several top tourist attractions remain closed, including parts of Disneyland and Legoland, as well as several viewing platforms along the band in Shanghai. Now, kidnapping remains a severe and widespread security crisis in Nigeria, that is, and still something that we're looking at this morning, where Nigeria's army has said it safely rescued 33 people after they were kidnapped by armed men while traveling through the country's northwestern Zamfara state. The army said its troops mobilized alongside the police immediately after hearing about the abduction in the safe area of Zamfara on Saturday afternoon. The military found the kidnappers in the process of moving the hostages to an unknown location, the army said, and the gunmen fled into the nearby bush after coming under fire. Kidnappings by armed groups who hold people for ransom are common in parts of northwestern Nigeria, and major roads have become targets for attacks. Analysts say ransom payments by desperate families, intermediaries, or in some cases Nigerian authorities have fueled these abductions. Nigerian Army spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Ali Udanja said it was unclear where the abductors were moving their hostages when troops intercepted them, adding that the army was now attempting to track kidnappers. Well, that brings us to the end of what we have on the global scene. Robert, let's have a quick look at what is making the headlines in today's dailies.
Well, today's dailies, after New Vision, Fanero marks 12 years. Still looking at the New Vision, IMF hails Uganda's economic growth. And still at the New Vision, we have Museveni issues new directives on corruption and government orders mandatory Sinotrack inspection. Then finally, on the New Vision, General Kainerugaba attends son's Sandhurst graduation. If my memory serves me right, this is where the father also went. And it's one of the best military academies in the world. Now, does this make him a member of the UPDF?
We don't know.
Definitely, because he's... Well, so much we'll get to know. And Daily Monitor, NRM opposition list priorities. Uganda moves to contain El Nino risks. Still in the Daily Monitor this morning, we have behind failing non-performing loans, the cleanup operation. And still Kanobesige's treason trial proceeds in his absence, and how unsafe medical waste disposal is putting lives at risk. But you can get more of these when you get yourself a copy of the dailies. But let's see what the rest of the papers in Kenya and Tanzania have this morning.
Right, Kenya and Tanzania are up already. Kenya has polls coming through, but let me first start with Tanzania there, and that is with the Citizen. Geopolitics fuels Tanzania's race for edible oil security. Interesting. That's the headline on there. But also other stories to look into. Tanzania Sugar Board eyes sugar self-sufficiency by the year 2030. And looking at matters health, good cause beyond sanitary pads, changing how Tanzania manages periods. And also shilling eyes gain as Tanzania opens securities market. I know, right? And ICT experts say trust is key to Tanzania's digital future. Now, looking at Kenya, Kenya is now where we were a couple of months back, because it's exactly 1 year until Kenya decides 2027, and that's the headline there.
Very important, Julie, because within the East African community, if one sneezes, the other coughs.
Right.
So we need to join hands in prayer as we pray for Kenya.
Indeed, I do agree with you on that. And looking at those contesting for this race, Martha Karua is on there. I think she's a figure of interest when it comes to Uganda. Yeah, and of course Ruto coming back, and other Gachagua, who was is he there? Is he there? Am I missing? Yes. Gachagua,
yes,
he is there, who was the vice president of Ruto when he had just become president. And of course there is the roadmap as to what is happening right from today until next year, when Kenya.
Martha Karua and Gachagua.
Yes.
If they don't divide their votes, you know, that's that we always have this opposition.
That's
and
very
the
true.
two are very powerful at a certain point, but then they don't come together to galvanize support. They want to take each one an independent path, and gives the incumbent an opportunity. Which
is always an African disease, if you ask many. Now that ends what we have as headlines in the dailies. For now, let's have a short break. Enjoy some Sissy Winans, Goodness of God. When we get back, we're looking at the role of LCs in communities. But it's not just any other conversation. It's a conversation with a breed of LC1 chairpersons that we have maybe, perhaps not seen or never seen before, if you ask me, for my generation.
You're moving away from the jobless, to use that word. You're moving away from those that are available 24/7 on the village.
Yes.
Available.
To the elite.
And they have nothing but to watch over the village.
Right, now we'll be right back in just a bit. Let's have a short break and you enjoy the music. The stature of villages and residents is that you have to lead or walk the journey of growing your village. Now, Robert, on that note, let's take a dive into what updates we have this morning. And we're starting off with the local scene.
Well, let's begin with medical interns, they are back again, promising not to be an easy nut to crack. Now, more than 2,400 medical interns have declined to report to government hospitals where they were posted for internship, demanding payment of their monthly allowances before deployment. The interns under the Federation of Uganda Medical Interns said they will not resume training until government addresses their concerns over allowances and working conditions. According to the Ministry of Health, 2,417 medical interns were expected to report to various medical hospitals from August 3rd to begin internship and practical medical training. The head of the Federation of Uganda Medical Interns, Dr. Segonga, said the interns recently met Health Minister Dr. Chris Waliomunsi, Dr. Chris Waliomunsi, and presented their grievances. The interns say financial difficulties, debts, and demanding nature of their work have made it difficult to undertake internship without financial support. Some interns have also threatened to abandon the internship program altogether if the issues are not resolved. The dispute has also reached President Yoweri Museveni. While addressing the NRM Parliamentary Caucus in Munyonyo on Friday, President Museveni said he had been briefed that medical interns are often the health workers' consistent presentation in government hospitals, particularly where some senior doctors also have private practices. The president said he had begun and been approached to intervene in the deployment of interns, acknowledging the role they play in keeping services running in public health facilities. Following President Museveni's remarks, the interns now want to meet the president directly to discuss the outstanding issues surrounding their deployment, allowances, and working conditions. The Office of the President has set up a special slot for records of all people who have been awarded national medals. This facility, called the National Hall of Fame, is the first of its kind in the country. The head of the Chancery, Hajat Zamina Malole, said there are plans to establish similar facilities in different parts of the country. The program is being spearheaded by the Chancery, a department under the Office of the President. The National Hall of Fame is located in the building that houses the Office of the President in Kampala. And Uganda started the practice of awarding medals after gaining independence from the British government. The late Queen Elizabeth II of England issued a decree to award Ugandans who fought for the country's independence. At least 700 people have been awarded medals in various categories. The head of the Chancery, who oversees the program, said that their responsibility as an institution is to preserve everything about the country's heroes. Robert Sempija, one of the national medal recipients, told UBC that national medals have value and bring honor to the country. And finally, from the local scene, the founder of Phaneroo Ministries International, Apostle Grace Lubega, challenged believers and institutions to remain vigilant to changes taking place around the world, citing artificial intelligence as one of the major technological achievements. He was speaking as Phaneroo Ministries International marked 12 years of existence. Achievements of technology and advancement of technology, artificial intelligence as a challenge that should be enhanced by good society to take center stage as worshippers at Phaneroo Ministries International celebrated 12 years. The founder, Apostle Grace Lubega, tasked believers and institutions to remain updated with the different changes in the world of technology. So far, Phaneroo's new season is building on the structures, achievements, foundations established over the 12 years of ministry. Well, Julie, that brings us to the end of our local stories as Phaneroo Ministries International celebrated 12 years of God's goodness.
Indeed, surely.
Go preach the gospel till the extreme end. I must
Do you
say,
preach the gospel? Do you take time off to tell anyone about the salvation of Christ?
I do, but not at a bigger, you'll never see me. When I was in Deje Senior Secondary School, I was part of the leadership of the Scripture Union under Reverend Mpaji. I was very vigilant in school, preached the gospel, but thereafter, I think somewhere, somehow, but I know one thing, that the Lord's will be done.
All right. And mine is to say that, have you come to the place in your life where you know for sure that if you died today, you'd actually go to heaven? That's a seller for you.
People are taking breakfast, people are driving home.
Well,
Now, when you let people think of what is in the book of Revelations,
it's the truth. We can't avoid it because anytime you can die. Even in this minute, you and I, any of us
Judy,
can pass
please
away.
continue with your international stories.
So allow me get straight. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV. If you started the show with us, thank you so much for choosing to start your day and for allowing us to be part of that start. And if you're just joining in, you're welcome. This is UBC TV. We come to you live from the Nile Avenue, and this is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba, and this morning we're looking at the role of LCs in communities. But share what you think it is. What do you think is the role of LCs in communities? 0709 602 592 by WhatsApp, onto our X handle as well at UBC TV Uganda, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. Now, 28th July was election day for LCs, local council chairpersons, across 71,214 villages of Uganda. The aftermath of it had about 1,135 villages failing to vote or failing to have LC1 chairpersons due to disruptions. But amongst those that managed to eventually vote and have their LC1 chairpersons declared was a very, you could ask me, if you ask me rather, in my view, in my longevity of life, it's not just a rare breed, but one I've never seen. But in case you are senior in these things and you've seen this type of breed for LC1 chairpersons, please do let me know. Do take me to school. I'd definitely love to hear that perspective. But this breed is one of elites, you could say, who are LC1 chairpersons of villages. One example is Solomon Seranja, senior journalist at that, who is now the LC1 chairperson of Bamutakude village in Mukono North. My guest this morning is not any different, and that is Agena Maureen. She is a technologist, she is a social scientist, and she is a budding book writer, but this time round serving as LC1 chairperson, not just sitting in the position, but serving. Because when you read her poster, her campaign poster, it's one that communicates service. A very good morning to you, Maureen.
Good morning.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me here.
Right. And I'll start with welcome back from the campaigns.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How was it?
It was tough. It was tough. It was interesting, but maybe for me it was quite fortunate that when you look at the village that I'm in, it has a very big number of postgraduate students. So the level of engagement and the level of dialogue is a bit different from, I guess, elsewhere. Where,
yes, exactly. And indeed, it's something I wanted us to throw light into. But in case you're wondering what she represents, which office, which village she is representing, that is at the Makerere University, the DAG community. that it's our village that she represents, and she's been taking me to school regarding the villages within Makerere University. Literally every hall is regarded as a village, of course, with the surrounding area, and hers is the one that she leads. Now, some of these questions would have been interesting if we had someone who was coming from a village, because now
Absolutely.
I understand the nature of the people you're serving.
Yes.
They are elite, they are eloquent,
Yeah.
they ask questions.
Yeah.
There are things that won't sway them easily.
No.
Yeah, but looking at the campaigns themselves, were they dramatic? Were they a lot of energy? Were they calm? Paint a picture of what your campaigns look like and what your executive committee also looks like.
Okay, maybe let me just make some clarity. I'll first introduce myself. I'm Maureen Agena. I'm a PhD fellow at Makerere University at the College of Agriculture and Environmental Studies, School of Agricultural Sciences and Department of Extension and Innovation Studies. And I'm a resident of DAG. DAG is a short form of the whole. It's a bit complex to, to pronounce. But what made me get into these elections? I've never been into elective politics. I've never even shown any interest. But I was compelled to go for the elections because there's a time I needed a stamp very, very urgently. And I asked around and they told me, oh, this place has an LC, but. So I walked around the entire university and didn't get a stamp. And then I said, okay, if this is what it takes, then maybe I should get into leadership. But also the second was there was so much theft around the university and not so much was being done, especially around our hall. And I said, sometimes I think to cause change, you have to get within. So I joined the team of the people who were campaigning. I was campaigning alongside a young gentleman called Mujuzi Jonathan. And we had people from out who were not residents. And I think that was a loophole on our side because we didn't do the due diligence when the Electoral Commission gave us the 2 days to verify in the voters list. So on the day of the elections, you know, you queue behind your candidate.
Right.
So we had 2 extra people coming in from out. And one of the people who came was extremely chaotic. He actually brought people from the neighboring slums and community, Katanga, Chikoni, and all those places, to come and I think was a bit of chaos. Having not been in elective politics, I didn't know that sometimes this is a strategy. And so as we stood, we were 2 students and 2 non-residents, they became very chaotic, which we didn't expect, given the electorate, as you say, educated. At least everyone in that hall has a first degree. So everyone in there has a master's, is doing a master's or a PhD. And so when we stood, as we're actively still counting, these people caused a lot of chaos. And then I realized that they were going to take the vote. So I made a decision and requested all the people standing behind me were not allowed to look back. So I told them, you know what, move to Jonathan's queue. Because you see at DAG, you have a maximum of 2 years or 3 years to be there. If you're doing a master's, you have 2 years. If you're doing a PhD, you have 3 years and you're out. Meaning no student can entirely complete the tenure of LC, which should be 5 years. And so everyone moved to Jonathan's. And so we had an agreement that Jonathan, he has basically less than almost a year, would be the LC for these few months, and then I'll take over. So in essence, I'm the vice chairperson.
Oh,
yes. And so the entire committee is made up of students. So when he leaves, the next person takes over.
Right.
When I leave, the next person takes over. That's the arrangement we had.
Oh, yeah, to cover residents. The 5 years, the 5-year tenure.
Exactly.
Interesting. And in case elections don't happen as soon as possible,
I guess we'll just keep revolving. We'll leave it to the ones who we've left behind because there's that history.
Right.
When I think the elections that happened after 2001 happened almost 15 years later. And even these recent ones took quite some time.
8 years.
So I guess that will leave it to the, we'll give it to the role of the warden to decide how they safeguard the position.
Right.
Yeah.
Now let's look at the leadership of LC1s.
Yes.
Do you think they should be political leaders? They should be political representatives, community representatives, or administrators, or all the three? In your perspective, what exactly should their role serve as out of the three?
I think it's all those, because when you look at it from a administrative and political point of view, LC is the lowest unit of administration, even in government. It's, and then there's a requirement that to be an LC, you have to be a member of the community.
Yes.
So you see, it encompasses all the things that you've mentioned, that you have to serve the government as a political leader, but you also have to serve the community as a member of the community. So I think, and all that work involves administration. So I think it encompasses all those roles, because if you're not a member of that community, then you don't even qualify to be an LC. And they play a very critical role, because being the smallest unit of administration, it's almost like an equivalent of a family, the representation of a family in a government. You know, everything starts from a home, you know, good manners, training, and all that. So I think that's what the LC also does. That's the service they give. You register people who come into your village. You have to mobilize for resources to improve on your village. You're the one who gives permission authority. People need IDs, people need passports, you give recommendations. So it's at the heart of administration. Yeah.
All right. You are watching UBC TV. It's The Real on Good Morning Uganda. And we're looking at the role of LCs in communities. What do you think the role of LCs is in your community? Do let us know, 0709 602592. Send a WhatsApp message. You can also head over to our X handle at UBC TV, and that is at UBC TV Uganda, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. Engage and join us for this conversation. In studio with me is Agena Maureen. She is the LC1, just found out she is the vice chairperson of the Makerere community, DAG community in particular, recently elected, and she has shared a bit of the strategy she used in her first elective political participation. But do share, also ask a question, you know, ask that question and share your opinion to the very same number, 0709 602 592. Now, Maureen, one of the things known when it comes to LC leadership is insufficient funds. And that's why many of them get into funny deals in the name of preserving funds for the different exercises and, of course, for their pockets at the end of the day. But given your community, how do you think you are looking forward to soliciting funds in making sure that the community is run effectively, even as the government comes in to play its role?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think that has affected that role of LC. It has grossly affected it, because now when you look at the recent elections, they were marred by so much violence, so much chaos, and it's because of that reason. People have now realized that maybe it's a shortcut to making quick money. When you look currently, people who buy land, the LC, you know, comes in and they have to, you know, it's also, there's a bit of ignorance, which I don't want to get into. But again, like you say, it's almost a shortcut, and the funding is limited, and that's why they said the LC elections took so much time to take place. But again, like I told you, my community is a community of, I think it must be the village with the highest concentration of graduates in one place. So we have that advantage to leverage on, because we have students doing all sorts of courses, fine art, you know, architecture, agriculture, all sorts of things, and you see we can tap into that. And when I introduced myself and a bit of the roles of the LC, I told you that one of the roles should be resource mobilization, which I don't think very many of them do. But again, like you said, in our village, we have that advantage, because at least we've been privileged to get an education. So we can tap into whatever opportunities there are, even from government. We can tap into whatever partnerships come up. It's easier for us, if I may, by virtue of our location in Makerere and by virtue of the education we've got. So the plan that we have is, of course, it's still work in progress, is to try and identify projects and causes that we could be part of and that we could contribute to.
Yeah.
In our various academic specialties and fields.
Right.
Yes, and also to make sure that the electorate benefit. There are students who are studying, you never know, you can get people to get jobs, to get onto projects, to get consultancies and all that. Ultimately, that builds the village because then everyone is happy, everyone will contribute, and everyone will be part of the cause you call them to be part of.
Right. Well, good morning, UBC. Netherlands, B. Leo Brazen here. Good times that now Uganda is having elite educated LCs, employed ones at that. It will reduce issues of land since the farmers have been using it as a way for money because of the lack of jobs. Thank you, Leo Brazen, for getting in touch and being part of the show. Now, let's look at young people.
Yes.
When what we've seen really when it comes to LC1 participation, we've seen a lot of senior citizens participate more. You notice that the younger people, the younger folks go for parliamentary seats at least LC1, LC5.
Yes.
But it's been rare to find LC1s. How do you think younger people can be encouraged to be more involved? Because if you think about it, they have a lot to offer.
Absolutely. I think these particular LC elections have brought out a lot of young people. Initially, people thought that elderly people were the gatekeepers of these particular positions, and it was almost an abomination for a young person to contest against them. Right. I know of some villages where young people have tried to contest and they have faced a lot of hostility. And I know of a very young lady, I think a Muslim lady in Kasangati, one of the villages, who won. I think she's just 19, which is commendable because then when you look at us as a country and you look at the demographics in terms of age, it's the young people who are the majority. Yeah. And we are always talking about jobs and employment and all these issues that come with the burden of having a youth badge that is not engaged or employed, gainfully employed. So I think getting into having young people understand the actual role of the LC and the value that that role contributes, especially to the general growth and development of a country, will get them to participate. So, I mean, it starts with us, and it's very unfortunate that Solomon is not here. I think he would have given a very different perspective, given that he has been in the media and all that. And I'm a technologist, but changed disciplines to agriculture. And you see the opportunities are there. And the problem again is people think you go into LC to stamp documents to get money, or to be part of land transactions to get money. But it's more than that. It's to unite people, it's to build your community, it's to develop the human resource within your community, it's to identify talent and place them where they can be meaningfully used, and then it's to mobilize resources. Because at the end of the day, you have to strike a balance. Your electorate have to benefit, and you have to contribute to the growth of that country and the overall community. Right.
We are looking at the role of LCs in your communities. What do you think the role of your LC is in your community? Maureen, allow me delve into more comments that are coming through. Good morning, Uganda. The role of LCs in my community. This is a wake-up call to all of us to know what role our LCs should play. Surprisingly, some LC2 chairpersons itself do not even know. Most village members, parish members do not know whether LC2 chairperson exists. To me, as Felix Jalpara, I think the roles of LCs are to call for community meetings, for example, Village Baraza, to address issues affecting communities like water, conflicts in the homes, curb theft, etc. Most times you see these roles are not played, if they are played at a small extent. People get to know and realize LC1 exists when they need a stamp. In my community, my LC1 mobilizes us to update us on government programs. and creates awareness on issues going on, especially national issues. I thank our guest, Maureen, the newly elected LC1 chairperson in the studio. I'm watching you live from Moroto Referral Hospital, Karamoja region. That's beautiful. This is Palmu Felix Jalpara. Thank you, Felix, for being on all the way from Karamoja. Good morning, LC's pause responsibility to intermediate between the locals in case of any disagreements, even though most no longer give right to justice due to emotions, selfishness, and sometimes unnecessary feelings. Secondly, they are entitled on behalf of the government to know who are the people living in their villages. Third, they are the ones to mostly inform the population about government programs. Fourth, they are the ones to recommend individuals to whoever wishes to know the behaviors of any. Thank you for the show. I am Katwesi J. Johnson. In Kabowa, good morning, Uganda. LC1 chairpersons provide all cardinal roles in transforming standards of living in a community. This is Lubanjwa Henry, Assistant RDC Chiboga District. Thank you for watching. Nice. Good morning, UBC. I'm Ronald. To me, the biggest role of the LC1 is community mobilization for any developmental programs, be it government, NGOs, or even the private sector. They mobilize their communities to participate in these programs. They are also the first entry point of family conflict resolution. Thank you so much for sharing your opinions. And in case you're just joining in, again, Maureen is with me in studio. She is the LC1 Vice Chair of the Makerere Dag community. And she's also sharing her 2 cents, but delving deeper when it comes to the roles of LCs in our communities. Our time is such an enemy, but let's try to chew on a few things before we close this. Looking at grassroots politics, and the realities they are in. Well, how long has it been since 28, since we're elected into office? What lessons have you picked, and in the realities? In the sense of it.
Yeah, okay. I think it's interesting. I'll say something. There's a program that I participated in. It's called Piper. I think it's a training program for young politicians, and I've done a lot of trainings for a lot of politicians, including some members of parliament currently. And it's organized by KIC. When I went for that training, I was teaching young women on how to use technology for their imagery, but also to avert cyberbullying and all this AI manipulation. And I sat and listened to the stories of these young women, the harassment, the insult, all the things they go through to get into those elective positions. And I remember saying that, I don't think I can get into politics. It was as bad as it gets. But I think what I learned is that first you have to show up. Okay? Because if you don't, you'll complain.
Who will?
Nobody else will. Will complain and expect someone else to do it. You have to show up. And then you have to be ready for whatever is thrown at you. It's elective politics, it's competitive. I was shocked when I first presented myself to the community, especially the student community, to be their leader. There were people who were, of course, supporting my opponent, and they came out very strong, like really trying to say all sorts of things. But then I had to come in and say, you know what? I think we are different. We are educated, and we have to behave. We have to rise above certain things.
Right.
And I think that's how the insults and all that, a bit of disrespect came down. But I can tell you, the thing is, you have to be ready for whatever is thrown at you.
Right.
And you have to just stay focused. I can tell you that in that community, the students demanded for a manifesto from all of us. They said, what are you going to do for our village? Like you said, it's a different electorate. And we had to do that, despite the busy schedules. You're doing class, but you have to balance to convince them that this is what I plan to do. So you have to have that plan. You have to understand what you're getting into. If you're going to be an LC, what exactly is your role? And I like the fact that people are sharing, that they understand.
Right.
So the thing is, how do we get more educated, younger people to get into positions like LC?
Yes.
I told you there used to be how do I say, like put aside for a certain age group. But those things are changing because, again, like I said, if you don't show up, who will? You know, it's not about the stamp, it's about that mobilization. Look, recently government put this call for cleaning every last Saturday of the month. That's what the LC should be doing. Push people in their community. Agree on, you know, community barazas. What are the issues affecting us? How do we push them forward, you know, to have them addressed by government? Because there's a whole system. You don't just, there's a system, there's LC1, LC2, and you have to go through all those processes. Right. So for me, it's been humbling, actually. It's been very humbling that I went for this, and I've seen what, at that lowest level, I've seen what it takes to get into that leadership. Right. So I think it's always important to extend grace to our politicians, but also to hold them accountable.
Right. Yeah. Now, let's close this, but I'd love for you to just tell us 3 things you believe every LC leader should do differently in order for their communities to be transformed, and what a 1-year success looks like for you.
Okay. I think, one, community leaders should educate their communities about their role, because many people do not know, okay? And then I think community leaders should focus on mobilizing resources to improve their community. You cannot entirely depend on government programs. You say you're waiting for PDM, you're waiting for this. No, it doesn't work that way. They should be able to look for money to support their communities. And then the third thing, I think they should tap into the talent within their communities, because we are all gifted differently. And there could be people who are very, like, exceptional. They should be able, I mean, they're the first point of contact. They should be able to identify those and then make sure they use them to elevate that community. For me, the first year of this position, I see a lot of growth. And I want to put this out, not out of duty or out of, I just want to thank Professor Nawangwe for doing an overhaul of that community, DAG, because initially there were people who lived there who are not students. And now everyone who is in there is a student. And so that became the starting point of having us as students become leaders. So for me, that's a plus. And so I hope that I'll work with the university administration to improve on a lot of issues that are affecting the community. You know, theft from outside, tap into students who can support in university programs. I told you there's a whole range of students studying there from, I think, all colleges of Makerere. So you tap into that and you know, elevate that, help them support the university as well, but also help them in their personal careers. Right. For me, that's the focus for this first year. Right. Yeah. It's been a pleasure, Maureen, speaking with you and learning from you. Allow me to close this conversation with a comment coming in from Odaro Vincent, who is in Tororo. He says, "Good morning, Uganda. I want to appreciate the guest in the house for going through in these elections. LCs link the community with the government, provide security, and mobile the people on government, mobilize, I think, the people on government programs." Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure you engaging in this conversation, and definitely many thanks to our guests this morning. Up next is Tourism Express. We do have business, the agenda, as well as sports, so stay tuned. Good morning.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
When you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers, you bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together
if we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation, when people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV Uganda this morning. and it's time for Tourism Express. And this morning, I have a guest with me who once upon a time did what I did, but her expertise falling into tourism. And this time around, she comes through to educate us more. Again, matters tourism. I do have Irene Allen Namisango, and she is the team leader at Uncovered Travel. It's a pleasure having you this morning, Allen.
Thank you so much.
How does it feel being on the other side always?
It's always a pleasure, really. The fact that I'm into serving tourism,
yes.
I really love that. It is one of the things that I do so passionately, and I never get tired of.
Right, and passion is key.
Yeah.
Now, this morning we are looking at the role all of us have to play in developing urban tourism. Be part of it. Ask that question. Share your opinion. 0709-602-592. Now, Allen, let's start off by defining what urban tourism is.
Thank you so much. Urban tourism is a sort of, let me call it like a type of tourism that lets people to think beyond national parks. First of all, when you talk about tourism, everyone is going to rush to the gorillas. They're going to rush to the wildlife in national parks. They're going to rush to the cultures outside the city itself. Yet when you pause down for a moment, you can realize that a city like Kampala also has very many attractions from the history, the stories, music, art, food experiences that we can actually dive in deeper to understand and then start selling these products when we will know and understand them properly. So urban tourism is a type of tourism that looks at developing the products in cities and make them tourism destinations.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we talk about a responsibility for all of us as a shared responsibility, how do all of us fall into urban tourism?
Oh, yeah, that is a very nice question. Thank you. I think that we all have a role to play in urban tourism. And it starts with us, the revelers of Kampala city. The first thing is for us to become the tourists of the city. When I traveled to Mombasa, I found so many Kenyans traveling, exploring their own city, Mombasa. So the first role that we have to play, all of us, is to see that we become the first tourists into this city. That is going to help us to create user-generated content that we can later share on social medias, and then it generates content that can even attract international tourists. Then again, even as people who stay in Kampala, just giving that simple smile, directing someone who is lost, like that can really make a lot of sense to a tourist who has just come into the city for the first time. So I think every one of us should be nice. I know we're already good people in Kampala. You know, in Kampala, I say this is where someone is going to ask for directions and they just walk you to the destination. So we're already good, but I think we can even do better than that so that we promote the city. When we go back to now to the service providers, business people, just selling safe, reliable services, quality products, that also speaks a lot to about Ugandans when we are promoting urban tourism. So I'm going to beg some of the people, when they see maybe foreigners, someone doesn't understand Uganda, now they want to hype up the prices because they've understood that this person is not from Kampala or Uganda. So let us be safe and let us give quality products to everyone who comes into the city. That is one role that you can play as a Kampala revealer, to see that we promote urban tourism. Now even to the local government, it is important that they do the basics, like providing safe mobility for walkers, the walking trails, clean the cities, to see that, put up signages, to see that it becomes easy for tourists to navigate around the city. Yeah.
You know, you say that, and I'm reminded of, because I usually have my walks within the city, and there's that monument of Sir Edward Mutesa.
Yeah.
But that monument doesn't look like Sir Edward Mutesa. It looks like a Caucasian man. You'll forgive me though, that's my obs.
It was actually just shifted. But when you look at now some of the products that we have in Kampala, city monuments should be one of the trails that we sell.
Right.
We've done a Kampala tourism walk with the theme, the Kampala Monument Trail, where we moved spotting different monuments in the city. But you can be amazed by the number of monuments that we have in the city, and some of them are even less known. Some of them are even kind of hidden that you cannot see them. I think we can all now just make it a movement. That every time you find a monument, pause, take a pic, study about it, at least post about it, so that everyone can know that there is a monument here.
Indeed. Do you even know that there's a monument at the place you dwell to the most, the Constitutional Square, aka City Square? You know, things like that. Let's look at the job opportunities, economic opportunities that come with urban tourism.
Oh yeah, that is also an interesting question. When we promote urban tourism, it does not only stop on the tour operators. Of course, when we go into the tourism sector, the job opportunities for the youth are enormous when we come to urban tourism. First of all, youths can become walking tour guides, because a walking tour, and someone who is somehow elderly, they cannot easily walk for long distances, 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers, but the youths are the ones who are energetic to take on this role, so they can become guides. They can start up maybe craft shops. They can be craft sellers. They can start up their own products. They can enterprise on walking tours, and they sell these products to clients. They can also start up like food experiences. Content creators have an opportunity here to create content that can actually maybe position them for ambassadorial roles, attract brands to partner with them. So there are so many opportunities for the youths in the sector in urban tourism, but also when you look at the multiplier effect of this money that is spent in Kampala. When a tourist spends more money in Kampala, that money is going to go to hotels, it is going to go to transporters, it is going to go to forex bureaus, business people, restaurants. You see that everyone has a chance to tap into this dollar that has come into Kampala when they're staying longer or experiencing the city.
Right. Now I see you're wearing a shirt with Kampala Tourism Walk, and it's something that's also displayed on the screen. What is the Kampala Tourism Walk? Is it part of urban tourism?
Yeah, thank you so much. The Kampala Tourism Walk is an initiative that lets us to pause and explore the beauty, the heritage, the stories in the city. So many times we walk around the city every day to work, from work to shop, but do we ever have a minute to pause and explore the beautiful stories that are endowed even on the streets? You know, even the names that are named through these streets, like Ben Chiwanuka, Pilkington Road, do you know the stories behind that? So this is an initiative that helps us to pause and explore and understand the beauty that dwells in the Kampala streets. Yes, so it is happening on the 16th of August, and this set is going to be the 50th edition. We shall be unveiling the Kampala Religious Trail. So we are going to understand what are those monumental religious sites that are very vital in shaping Uganda's faith journey. Look, you see, people go to Egypt, people go to Israel to explore or to strengthen their faith in these places. But have they gotten some time to understand even some of the holy places that have shaped Uganda's faith for generations? Places like Mapera Church, Namirembe Cathedral, Gaddafi Mosque, they're so monumental to our religions that we have here, but we've somehow ignored them. So this year's theme, the Kampala Religious Trail, it is going to be taking people around Kampala, but showing them the monumental sites in religious tourism.
Right. How does one get to be part of it?
Yeah, that is very simple. We invite the whole public to be part of this walk, and it is you only have to buy a kit that comes for 30,000 shillings. You can pick the kit from Buganda Craft Center in Mengo, shop number 3, or you can search us online on social medias, and then you can order for your kit and be part of the walk.
Oh, right. Very beautiful. Indeed, 30,000 Uganda shillings. You get yourself a kit and get to walk with people. It's fun doing life with people on the streets of Kampala, learning and unlearning different things that you thought were, yet actually are not, and things that you thought are not, and yet actually are. So 16th August, right?
Yeah,
which is Saturday? Sunday. Yeah. It is a Sunday. Plan to be there. We've told you at the start of the week, so you already have plot for your weekend. Alan, thank you so much for coming through. It's been a pleasure. Anything you want to tell us as a parting shot, action to call?
Thank you so much. Yes, as we are winding up this, I want to tell the Ugandans that when we walk in Kampala, when we engage in this Kampala tourism walk, First of all, we are selling wellness. You're becoming fit. You know, we need this physical exercise. So we are selling wellness travel. That is one of the most trends in tourism. And we are selling affordable travel. At only 30,000, you're going to be to how many places? 6 and above. And then we are selling educative travel, where you're going to be learning and having powerful storytelling. So guys, please, let's all be part of this work. But again, I'm also going to encourage you that let's all be good people in the city so that we are able to attract more tourists into Kampala.
All right, let us be good people in the city so that we are able to attract more people into Kampala, thus economic boom therein. Ends this conversation of JMU Tourism Express. Up next is Business with Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. Good morning.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
The government's commanded is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of the roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to Business, and let's begin with the Luo community has been urged to tap into opportunities in agriculture, agro-processing and tourism to boost household incomes and create employment. The call was made during the launch of the Digital Luo Museum in Kampala, an initiative aimed at preserving and promoting Luo history, culture and heritage.
The annual Luo Legacy Dinner brought together members of the Luo community, government officials and other stakeholders to celebrate their heritage while reflecting on opportunities for socio-economic transformation. The celebrations also featured the launch of the Digital Luo Museum, a platform intended to document and showcase Luo history, culture, traditions, and achievements for present and future generations.
It is only important that we move culture to a space where we can interface, where we can interact, where they can access this important compass for their whole existence, for their bearing, to be able to read, to be able to learn, to count in your mother tongue. You promote items that are whether it's businesses, investments, tourism places, what's going on in terms of commerce, branding regions.
The Minister for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Senjay Tana, encouraged the Luo community to venture into agriculture and agribusiness, saying the existing community presents an opportunity for communities at the grassroots.
To solve several bottlenecks, and today the opportunity is in the agro-processing sector. It will help the communities that we live in as well. We must have business synergies that touch the people at the grassroots level.
The retired Chief Justice of Uganda, Alfonso Winnie Dolo, urged the Luo community to embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanism instead of rushing to courts over every dispute.
There are divine elements that we will get rid of, we will ignore. But these are not footnotes. So as I said, mine was just to evoke conversation, to inspire in you the need to understand, to make you realize the duties on you to go back to our society and help resolve dispute that is within our society.
The retired Archbishop of Uganda, Right Reverend Dr. Henry Luke Orobi, challenged the community to uphold dignity, integrity, and values that preserve their identity and strengthen social cohesion.
Keeping our legacy, keeping our culture, keeping our tradition should connect us to our roots. If you don't connect to our roots, we lose our children, our grandchildren, and many other nations that keep their tradition very strong, never divorce.
The launch of the Digital Luo Museum is expected to provide a lasting digital archive which the Luo community can preserve its history and pass its heritage on the future generations. Susan Nabugude for UBC News.
Thank you, Susan. Now allow me quickly look at the exchange rates as of Friday, August 7th, this very year. Now, the US dollar was buying at 3,720.29 and selling at 3,730.29. The Great Britain pound was at 5,002.30, buying and selling at 5,016.86. The euro was buying at 4,285.77 and selling at 4,297.66. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.71 and selling at 28.83. Now the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.39 and selling at 1.41. The Rwandan franc was buying at 2.52 and selling at 2.54. Now that is as of Friday, the 7th of August. Now with that, we come to the end of our business segment. Julie Nantaba Musisi will be here to take us through the agenda. Keep it with us and thank you for being with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100.